everyone. All right, good evening. Good evening. I guess you guys must be super excited tonight because we are going to give you live market updates. All right. If you love to have market update from us, can you type M in the chat? M stands for market update. In the meantime, I'm just going to blast it to the Telegram channels right now that we are live so that more audience can join us. So for those who have already joined us, can you let us know, do you feel the market is bullish, is bearish, or you are not sure? If you are very bullish, type B. If you are very bearish, type bear. Or if you're not sure, type NS. Okay, hold on. In the meantime, while waiting for the audience to come in, I'm just going to blast it to the Telegram channels. All right, starting now. Yes. So I can see Adrian is here. I can see SHE. Wow, I love the live band. I love the band SHE. Are you talking about the same SHE? All right. Uncertain. So Adrian is thinking that it's a little bit uncertain. And then after that, how about SHE and the rest of the SHE is also unsure as well. Okay, fantastic. And that's why tonight we want to provide you with more clarity and more certainty exactly how to invest well and how to invest safely in this market as well. So I can see that more of you guys are streaming in. Fantastic. So feel free to also share this live stream to other of your friends as well, those investor friends or families, so that you can also give them more clarity and more better direction how to invest ahead. And tonight, right, this market update is not going to be done by me, because I feel that it should be done by an even more seasoned investor who has decades of investing experience. All right, so guys, make a guess. Who will be the one doing the market update for you? He started investing at the age of 21. And this year, okay, I shall not reveal his age, but then it has been more than 10 years. So he has really been through a lot of, market ups and down. And that's why by going through different market cycle, he have a better sense, all right, knowing how to invest well in different market situation. And that's why without further ado, let's welcome our handsome Bowen to be here. Hi, Bowen.
All right. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Okay, good to be here. And of course, I think like what Chloe mentioned earlier on, I'm happy that, that I'm actually been investing for about 10 years lah. So, which also means that I have 10 years of learning lesson to actually share with all of you. But I think very important, okay, I think Chloe is also an amazing, speaker and also investor. That's why today, I think she will also be the one to also review the market update and also to also share some insight as well, so that you guys can actually get the 100, not just 100, 200% value. So if you guys want 200% value, can you type 200 in the chat, right?
Yeah,
and do help
give us your 200%. We will give you double of that, right? 500%. Okay, my maths is not working.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. I can see the response coming in. Yep. Do help us to also share this out, because like I said, the information that we are sharing is actually, not shared before in the public itself. So again, we have actually spent a lot of time to come up with all this. And as much as possible, when it comes to market update, one of the things that a lot of people thought that is this like a crystal ball telling me, whether now is the best time to buy or not. But very importantly, we do not want to see this as a crystal ball, but we want to see this as giving you the clarity and making sure that you are heading towards the correct direction. I think some of you want to buy right now, but also scared. Hey, Bowen, the market keep dropping over the last 1 to 2 weeks. So if I buy now, what happens if it goes down furthermore? So give you more clarity to help you to actually make better investment decision.
All right, I can see people are getting super excited. Some of them even shouting your name, handsome Bowen.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay, today I didn't rename myself as handsome Bowen. I just put HB. So it's up to you to interpret. Okay.
HB, oh yes. It's good for open for interpretation. Okay, you guys can imagine what does HB actually mean. In the meantime, Bowen is going to share his findings, his research that he spent a lot of time doing, right? So he wants to give you a lot of value. So make sure you also keep us asking questions, right? If you have any questions in between, put it in the chat so that we can also clarify during this special market update from BOS as well.
Okay, so right now you guys should be able to see my screen. If you can see my screen, Can you help me to type in MU for market update?
Wow, MU, it also stands for micron.
We got no comments again about this company. This is not a stock recommendation. Okay, so let's get started. I think first thing first, before we also begin, is that today is not a recommendation, for a buy or anything. I think very importantly, when it comes to investing, always do our own due diligence lah. So today, these are all based on my own personal view. I hope to give you guys some clarity and insights into how I view the market itself. So before we begin, okay, I'd like to start off by sharing with all of you some breaking news. That means recently in the news, right? Wow, there are actually quite a number of exciting article headlines, okay, that caught all of our attention. The first one, there's this famous investor, okay, called Michael Burry. So recently, right, he actually shorted the market. That means he actually bet that the market is going to go down. And how much money did he actually put in? 1.6 billion. Wow, when I saw this, I was actually pretty shocked. Okay, but at the same time, I also took it as a pinch of salt. Why do I say this? Is because this is not the first time that he appeared on the headline saying that he shorted the market. But what really got me like, wow, to take a second look at this is that his 1.6 billion consists of 90% of his firm portfolio. So you know that this time around, right, he's pretty serious. It is not just all talk, but literally he is all in to bet that the market is actually going down. So with this kind of news, right, some people will start to get a little bit panicky and say that, hey, Bowen, I'm actually right now bullish in the market. My investment is all inside. But this guy, and he's relatively well known because he's appeared in this movie called The Big Short. Now, having said that, if you actually go and take a look at the article itself, right, basically nobody know the main reason why he's shorting the market. That's number one. And number two, nobody talks about the time frame of how long is he shorting the market. So he could be actually shorting the market for 2 weeks, and then subsequently when he make money, he get out. But what happened is that if you do not know how long is he or when is he taking profit, you thought that, wow, maybe this is going to be the big crash. And then you keep on waiting and waiting and waiting. Then I can tell you, okay, you might be disappointed. So for me, when I see this, I just take it as, maybe something is happening. Okay, but I do not want to jump into any conclusion, very importantly. Now, next, we look at the next news. There's this very, very experienced Goldman Sachs veteran. He said that he's very worried about the stock market. And he said that right now it's no longer a buy the dip market. So we all know that when the market drops, okay, it can present as an opportunity for us to accumulate more share. But why is it that he mentioned that this is not a buy the dip market? In fact, if you look at the article, right, he actually mentioned investors have shifted their trading behavior from buy the dip to sell the rally market. That means people are not buying more when the market drops. In fact, people are shorting it and selling even more. So this is a new change in tone and sentiment. Again, okay, this is based on his personal experience, and he studied this thing called flow analysis. Now, again, when I look at this, I also take it as a pinch of salt because, again, we do not know what is his game plan and what is the reason why he's actually posting this. And many a times, okay, their sentiment can also change. So maybe when the market starts going up, he probably also changed his statement, okay, depending on where the market is heading, right? So one thing that I realized is that people are getting fearful whenever they see news article like this. So very importantly, when we always ask you guys to invest, or if you want to become an experienced investor, very importantly, are you affected by all this news that's actually appearing? And I can tell you, the news changes every day. For example, if tonight the market goes up, if you look at the news, everything is going to be bullish. There will be 5 to 10 news that talk about the different reason why the market is actually bullish. And if let's say the market goes down, there will be 5 to 10 different news that explain why the market is actually going down. And you realize that every single day, it is not the news, it is not rather the fundamental that is affecting. It is depending on the market. If it goes up, then the news will be positive. If the market goes down, then everything will be negative. So let's look at fact. So if you guys understand what I'm talking about, can you help me to type in fact? Okay, we look at fact, which is information. Now, something that JP Morgan have actually done an analysis, okay, and that is on household excess saving. Now, I think this is also something that is worth taking a look. And that is, we know that back in 2020, we had a COVID. So during COVID, the US government gave out a lot of money. And that is why you can see that after 2020, the market actually goes up quite a fair bit. And in fact, a lot of consumer stock, okay, people actually have a lot of savings because of the cash that the government is actually paying. But based on this article, it's saying that right now, the cash that they have accumulated during the COVID period is almost depleted. So again, that is something that, is of concern. It's of concern to all of us as well. So we just take this as a something to take note of at the back of our mind. Now let's take a look at the current market in terms of investor sentiment. Is the market bullish or is the market, more bearish? Maybe you can type in, okay, what do you think? Right now, are we bullish or are we bearish? Don't type the first letter because I don't know whether you are referring to bull or bear. Okay, yeah, just type the full name. Whether is it bullish, type bull. If you think it's bearish, type bear.
Oh, people are saying bear. Some people are saying bear. Yeah.
Okay, I hope it's not because I've just shared the article and then you kind of agree with that. Okay, so far only one. Okay, let's have more response. Okay, yeah, y'all can just put inside the comments so that we can also get to participate. So this whole session is going to be as interactive as possible. Okay, somewhere in the middle. Amazing. So right now, if you look at this particular data, okay, which is the fear and greed index, it is actually telling you that right now, market is also a little bit uncertainty. Okay, they are not greedy, they are not fearful. Somewhere in between, waiting for things to happen. I love to actually look at this thing called a fear and greed index. In fact, how do you get this? You can just Google fear and greed index. You'll be able to find this particular page. But I like to look at the average. For example, if you look at this particular data, right? Previously, if we just look back at about 2 weeks ago, we were actually at the extreme greed area. Right, so I was also telling the community and said that, hey, when people are greedy, you need to be fearful. So it's also considered a good time for you to start taking some profit. Or if you want to buy, don't buy when everybody is greedy. Buy when everybody is fearful. So now the question is, if let's say we believe that the market is going to continue to go up, right? When would be a relatively good time to start entering the market? So as you can see over here, I've actually drawn two lines. Okay, so this is a bit like the support line. Okay, but this is a very different case. It's just based on this fear and greed. So you can see somewhere around 30 plus, right? Okay, if I were to want to enter, I think my first entry point will be somewhere around where the, fear is at about 30. And of course, if the fear goes all the way to less than 25, okay, that will be where I will have more bullet to actually go in as well. Right, when people are extremely fearful, right, I love it. Okay, I love to actually enter during this kind of opportunity. So always remember, buy on fear. Again, don't believe.
I also want to clarify, maybe I think some students are also like wondering as well. So based on this, right, the lower the number, the higher the fear. The higher the fear, is that right?
Correct. No, in fact, the lower number, in fact, 35, right, is somewhere neutral. So if you look at the current number, right, current number is about 50. Then you can see the number. 50 is the neutral one. Anything less than 50 becomes fear, then extreme fear. Anything above 50 is greed and extreme greed.
Okay, I see. Got
so
it.
If I were to
That's
move
why
it
you
to
buy based on the support of the fear and greed index.
Correct. So right now it's actually somewhere in neutral. Anything below 50, you can see it start to become fearful. But how fearful? I also don't want people fearful, then you go in already. Must make sure that the fear is big enough. Accumulated a little bit more. And when the market goes down further, I can tell you, the market will become fearful. All right. So next, let's move on. Again, this one not I say one. This is actually mentioned by Warren Buffett. I think this is a very famous quote. Be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. So I love to actually relate to this, referencing to the fear and greed data that I just shared earlier on as well. Now, let's move on. One thing to also determine whether the market can continue to go up higher or not is to look at this thing called inflation. All right, so we know that inflation is basically things getting more and more expensive. And some of you also wondering, Bowen, how come in the last 2 weeks, the market actually start to fall? Previously it was very, very bullish. One of the key data that was actually released was actually the inflation data. So you can see over the last 1 year, inflation data has been dropping every time. Okay, from 8.3 to 8.2 to 6 to 5, and the most recent announcement, it mentioned that inflation actually went up. So everybody becomes like, oh no, inflation is coming back up. So again, some of you will be wondering, why is this a bad news? Okay, or rather, how does this affect the market and where is it heading towards to? Very importantly, inflation is just a data point. Okay, but inflation is actually one of the key data that the Fed is looking at. because the Fed will actually do something that will determine where the market is heading, and that is this thing called interest rate. Later we will actually elaborate more on that as well. So when inflation is not dropping to the Fed rate of 2%, the Fed wants this to drop to 2% on average. That means it should actually go even below 2%, maybe to about 1.5% or even 1%. All right. So you can see that right now, there's still a gap towards where the Fed actually wants the inflation number to be. So because of that, the Fed will be like, oh, the market is not heading where we expected. So naturally, what will be the reaction is that, should we continue to increase the interest rate? Probably yes. So based on this data, the next thing that probably they will do is to continue to increase the interest rate. But let's take a look at this inflation and whether will this continue to go up or will it actually start to come down further. If we actually go and dig further into how this inflation data is actually collected, you realize over here, there's this thing called a shelter inflation. So this shelter inflation actually consists about 90% of the 3.2%. So you can see that it is actually quite tilted towards a certain percentage of one category. So if we were to remove this shelter inflation, if you look at the green color bar, or rather the green line, you can see that if I were to remove that, actually the inflation is way lower, which is pretty healthy, I would say. Okay, that means technically if you're in US, prices are dropping and things like that, which is a good sign of inflation coming down. But why is it that this shelter inflation still remain high, even though it seems to be slightly coming down? Okay, I've also gotten some additional data to share with us moving forward where this shelter inflation is actually heading. So you can see this is again not mentioned by me. Okay, this is by this gentleman called Augustine. Okay, I also don't know who is he lah. But based on the title, he is somebody from the Federal Reserve and he spent his time doing research lah. So instead of me doing the research, I let the expert show you what they actually feel. So they say that, okay, basically moving forward, right, this shelter inflation could ease substantially. In fact, they mentioned that it'll probably go all the way to close to zero for this shelter inflation. So which also means that, right, based on this forecast, okay, I would say that the core inflation moving forward, right, is going to drop drastically as the shelter inflation start coming down. Because other inflation has already gone down quite a fair bit. It's only this thing. But based on their research and their data, it shows that this is actually coming down really, really soon. So to me, that is a good sign that inflation is actually under control. Okay, under control. So let's move on. Let's look at interest rate. We know that interest rate is rising, and every time the interest rate rise, the market kind of take it negatively. Some of you will be wondering why. Okay, but very simple lah. When interest rate goes up, it also means that if I am a business, if I am a listed company, I want to borrow money to grow my business. Wow, now the interest rate is so high means that I have to pay more. That is also the reason why, okay, when interest rate goes down, business are more willing to actually borrow money. And when they borrow money, they don't put it in the bank. They use it to grow the business and grow the economy. So that's also where we realize that when interest rate starts dropping, market, I would say the whole economy, right, actually start to grow exponentially. So that's a good sign for businesses, and naturally, it is a good thing for the stock market as well. So everybody is just waiting. When is the interest rate going to start dropping? So this is something that we have to understand. So let's look at this very, very interesting data, okay, called the dove versus the hawk. Yeah. How many of you understand what is dove and what is hawk? Okay, if you understand, type U. If you don't understand, type D. Chloe, do you understand dove versus hawk?
I guess dove is like peace.
Okay.
Hawk is like aggressive.
Okay. But let me just give you a clue. If I were to link this to the Federal Reserve, what do you think would be the real meaning? The Fed like to use this term called hawkish. Have you heard of this?
Yes. Okay, interesting.
Okay, most people don't understand. Okay. Yeah, don't worry. If you understand means that my slide is not done properly. Okay, you're not supposed to understand. Okay. Yeah. Basically, when the Fed say that the economy, or they are hawkish about the whole economy, means that they feel that the market is still not doing that well. Okay. So usually when they say the market is hawkish or the economy is hawkish, it means that they're going to increase the interest rate. When they say that the market is dovish, that means doing well, it means that probably the interest rate will start to come down. So make a guess. Right now, the Federal Reserve, are they more dovish or are they more hawkish? I can type the first letter lah, H or D. What do you think, Chloe?
I think it's still hawkish.
Still hawkish, huh? Okay, let's take a look at what the Fed is actually saying. Right, so you can see over here, they mentioned both the dove and the hawk acknowledge that inflation remains too high, but for the most part, the hawk advocate that another rate hike is warranted. So most of the Fed officer actually right now is still relatively hawkish. Okay, which also means that, as mentioned, that the next rate hike is very, very likely still going to happen. All right, so of course, when that happens, it's going to add even more pressure onto the whole economy. I think especially for those of you who are right now, if you have a mortgage loan or if you have any kind of loan, you'll be able to feel the impact of the rising interest rate. The only person that is very, very happy right now, okay, are my parents. Why is that so? Because this is the time where they put their money into fixed deposit, also make very, very good returns. Okay, yeah, but can you see? Is this what the government want you to do? Do you think the government want everybody to put their money into fixed deposit? The answer is no. In fact, the government want you to take the money out and spend it, borrow as much as possible. How does the government print money? The more money you borrow, the more money they can create, right? So again, we have to look at this. Right now, when interest rate is so high, to be honest, are not very good for the economy. But if you are a saver, if you love putting your money into fixed deposit rate, it is good. Okay, but I can also tell you upfront that these good times are not going to last very, very long. So for those people who say that, I don't need to learn how to invest, just put the money in fixed deposit, every year get about 4%. Not wrong, not wrong. But how long can you collect this 4%? Okay, very likely I can tell you, even towards near the end of the year, interest rate starts to drop. This rate is going to drop. By next year, maybe your fixed deposit is going to drop to 2% or even less than 2%. Right, so again, we have to look long term. So when it comes to investing, always look at long term. Don't just because right now there's certain opportunity, we want to make some quick bucks and then we jump in. All right. So let me just continue. Now, when is the next very important date for us to take note is that the FOMC. Right. So you can see FOMC is going to announce the next rate hike, and that is going to happen on the September 19 and 20. Again, we don't have to spend over attention on this, but just take note, especially if let's say you want to go into any investment during the period of time, it would be best if you just maybe avoid or wait for the announcement to be over before you make any decision. I think for me, I like to avoid unless, okay, for those of you who knows how to do options, when there's this kind of announcement, usually the volatility will be higher. Then, of course, if you have the right strategy, you can actually benefit from the volatility itself by selling options to generate higher ROI. But other than that, okay, normal investor out there, usually I will try to avoid. So over here, they mentioned that there will be more rate hike coming, which I actually do foresee that definitely the next one is going to increase. But will it be one more or two more? I think that also depends on the subsequent data that's going to be out, okay, in the next few months as well. So let's look further. Okay, I want you guys to actually make a guess. Where do you think we are right now? If you look at the whole economy, are we at the disbelief? Are we at the hope? Or are we at the optimism or belief? Maybe just this four. DHOB. Where do you think we are right now? I'll just give them some time to actually type it in. Yes. So maybe Chloe, what do you think?
It does look like, in my opinion, a little bit more like hope or disbelief, the kind of area.
Disbelief lah. Okay. So originally, I also thought that it's probably somewhere around hope or disbelief lah. But in fact, if you look at the last 1 year, the market has already gone up quite a fair bit. Okay. Yeah. So it doesn't seem to be like a disbelief, because usually disbelief is where, the start of the bull run, which is actually like 1 year ago. People say that the market will go up, but then a lot of people still don't believe. That's where they are in disbelief. Then, of course, hope is people thought, hey, maybe the market will go up, maybe it will not. Okay, but I think right now, based on my personal view, I would say somewhere between optimism and belief. Okay, and that got me really, really excited because why? You can see that that is where the market actually goes up quite significantly. Okay, quite significantly. Of course, over here, if you look at this chart, it just show you the chart. It doesn't show you the time frame. Okay, it doesn't mean that if you buy today, right, or 3 months later, you will make a lot of money. Okay, because this whole run, it can last as long as maybe 3 to 4 years. But very importantly, okay, we want to actually go in at a relatively good time. And I always believe that at any point of time is always a good time. But very importantly is you want to buy into good businesses. If you buy into bad businesses, I can tell you, even in the most bullish market, right, you can still potentially lose money. All right. So again, don't just simply time the market. More importantly is to actually look at what are you buying. I think that is really, really important as well. Now let's move to the next one. Okay, I want to use some technical analysis to also help you guys make some, clarity or basically see where the market is actually heading potentially.
Well,
So for the
before
last
that,
1 year,
how many of you find that? Before that, I just want to ask, like, how many of you feel that this has been very comprehensive for you? Like, not just providing you with the economic data, but right now also going to provide you with technical analysis, guidance. How many of you feel it's comprehensive? If you think that it provide you with more clarity, can you type C in the chat? Okay, C stands for clarity. So really have to kudos to Bowen for spending so much time to do up this research and give you guys the necessary clarity and guidance during this period of time. So thank you so much, Bowen. And people say love it. Ian say I love it. Great companies, fantastic. And a lot of people say clarity, fantastic. So Bowen, you can continue to guide us further in TA.
Awesome. Wow. The more you guys love it, right, the more we will be happy to share with all of you even more as well. Okay. Yes. So if you look at technical analysis, this is something that I actually love a lot. In the past, I always, just based on value investing, and just simply buy low and sell high. But one thing I also realized is that if you have technical analysis, it will also help you to prevent some of the biggest losses. Okay. For example, in the downtrend, you can keep on buying and buying and buying. But what if you can wait for the market to start to reverse before you enter? Potentially, okay, you can actually make even more money. So I always believe that adding more skill set, right, to what you have, okay, and combining together can optimize and increase your ROI even more. So again, that's why even for market update, I like to use this to give me further clarity as well. So you can see market has been dropping for quite a long period of time, drop. Again, now that you look back, right, you'll realize that the drop is pretty systematic. Okay, it's not like random. Okay, again, the market don't actually move in random. Okay, market always move in a certain pattern because why? Guys, remember the market is made up of the buyer and the seller. And who are these buyer and seller? It is us. Okay, we are all human. Human have human buying and selling psychology. Buying pattern. So that is why you realize that no matter how you say that, there's no way we can, predict the market and things like that. But human emotions always repeat itself. Okay, so that is why the patterns still continue. So for the past 1 year, market has been heading upwards, and actually for the last few months, the market was actually way more bullish than I expected. Okay, in fact, you can see that way before, back in somewhere around May or June, right, I was expecting the market to reach the top and then start to correct, but it actually continued to weigh even higher. So right now, I would say that usually the longer the run, right, when the drop happen, or rather we call this like the correction or the pullback. Okay, if the run is huge, usually the pullback will also be bigger. Okay, the pullback will be bigger as well. So in fact, if you look at this, right, over the last 1 to 2 weeks, market has been dropping. Is this something that I am really worried about? In fact, no, not at all. In fact, I kind of have been waiting for this to happen. Why? Because I'm waiting for the time to buy more and accumulate even more shares. So when the market is going up, as much as I want to buy, but I know that there will be opportunity for me, better opportunity for me to enter. So again, right now, market is dropping. Does it mean that I need to start buying already? Okay, for me also, I tend to wait a little bit more. Okay, again, back to earlier on, the fear and greed. I want to wait for the market to be fearful, or rather to be at extreme fear. Okay, and then I will start to go in. So if you look at the support line, which is somewhere at the bottom green line, somewhere around $400. Okay, I will be more than happy to actually go in and accumulate even more as well. So right now, I'm actually kind of still just waiting, okay, and observing where the market is actually heading. So I don't really look at it on a day-to-day basis, but rather I'll just take a look, okay, and then I will see whether has it reached my entry point or not. So this is very, very important. So you can see that this is a very healthy correction that is actually happening. So again, I'm not too worried about where the market is heading. If it drops further, I'm excited. I'm happy to accumulate. Again, don't accumulate any company. Accumulate good company. So today, I think I also want to give a little bit of a bonus lah. Okay, and share with some of you some company. Right? Should I share?
Wow. Wow. I think it depends on how responsive are the audience, right? Do you guys want bonus? If you want, can you type bonus in the chat? Okay. Because I think Bowen has done with his market update. And also right now he wants to ask you guys. Wow, Daniel said give you a lot of hearts. Love, share, please. Tony said yes, please. All right, bonus. Fantastic. People are looking forward to that. So Bowen, can you share with us your companies in focus?
Okay. Yeah. So let's take a look. The first one, y'all make a guess lah. What company is this? It is like a giveaway. Pretty giveaway. Somebody help me. If somebody type orange, then I'll be worried. Okay. Yeah.
They
This is
say
none
my
other than
Apple.
Wow, this is none other than Apple. Okay, so of course we know that Apple is a great company lah. Right now I'm doing this sharing on my MacBook, okay, which is also an Apple product. So why am I excited? Is because you can see that right now Apple, right, it has actually fallen back into the previous resistance, okay, and so basically, the previous resistance right now is also the new support area. So potentially, based on technical analysis, now could be a good time for you to accumulate. For those of you who didn't manage to buy at 195, too expensive. Right now, 17 plus. Better pricing, right? Yeah, at least a 10% saving. So if it goes back up to 19, you already make about 10%. But let's take a look further. Let's take a look further. Now, I don't just simply look at TA because before anything happened, I always like to look at FA and also look at valuation. Because one thing is, I don't like to overpay, okay, for something. Even if it's a good company, I also don't like to overpay because I always believe that, whatever that has gone up too much, it will eventually still come back down to the fair price. So if you look at Apple based on the PE ratio, you can see that right now, even with the drop, right, it is still at 29, relatively higher. As you compare 2022, 2021, right now is almost one of the highest other than 2020. Okay, but remember 2020, why is it much higher? Is because the earnings drop. Okay, yeah, the earnings drop more than the price. Okay, so that's why that data is technically not the most accurate. Now, if you look at the price to book, everything is actually one of the highest. So if you ask me right now, even though the prices did came down a fair bit, I would say that I prefer to still look at better company, okay, that is at a good valuation. So not that I don't like Apple, but I feel that there are better opportunity out there that can potentially give us better ROI. So if you guys, you want to know what is potentially a better company with more ROI, can you help me to type in B for bonus? Then maybe I share one more company.
bonus. At least say Apple might drop to $120.
Potentially maybe. Okay, again, we don't speculate lah. So some of you say Apple, Microsoft, Google, Meta. Exactly. I mean, these are all great company, but at the current price point, if you ask me to enter, I'm also like, should I enter right now? Quickly bonus, faster bonus. Okay. Wait, before I go on to the next one, I want to ask Chloe, have I shared this company called PDD before?
Not in the public.
Not yet, right? Yeah, I think I share it, in our inner community, but I have not shared it over here. Okay,
yeah.
So, okay, let me share with, actually, they know what company lah. So this company is none other than, how come got this one? Okay, actually, there's supposed to be a picture here lah, but it's none other than this company called Pinduoduo. Pinduoduo. I want to ask all of you lah, have you heard of this company called PDD before? If you heard of it, type yes. If you never heard of it, type no.
Yeah, some people already know it's from China. Ian said, is it dangerous? Yes. Is it dangerous?
Okay, later I will share, the upside and of course the potential risk. I think everything we need to understand that there will be risk. So it's good for us to manage as well. Okay, look familiar. Some of you are familiar, some of you not so familiar. But basically, if you look at this, right, what Pinduoduo do is they are an e-commerce platform. Just think of Alibaba, think of JD.com. So Pinduoduo is another platform that offers that sell goods lah. Okay, which is on the e-commerce platform, and they are a China company. Now, if you look at this company, right, their 3-year revenue compounded growth is 65% every year. That means 65%, 65%, 65%. For me, number one, wow, that really caught my eye. Okay, even if you look at the 5-year compounded, it's 150%. That is really, really crazy. Now, the second thing I like to look at for every business is the margin. Okay, are they a high margin company? If you look at their margin, net profit margin of 25.65%. Super, super amazing. Then, of course, we also look at ROE, 30.33%. Wow, so far, everything seems to be perfect. Okay, yeah, and of course, if you look at the PE ratio, it's at 21.24. Again, I think the valuation is relatively reasonable. But I want you all to understand, what is this business all about and why do I think that there's actually a potential over here? Let's dig further. So one of the things that they focus on is this thing called agriculture. Okay, so if you look at, for example, what differentiates Pinduoduo from Alibaba or even JD.com is JD.com or Alibaba, they are a platform that connects buyer and seller. Okay, then of course they earn the middleman fee. But what happened is that, right, just imagine for the seller, where do they get their product from? They also get it from the wholesaler. Correct or not? So there might be 20% getting from the wholesaler, and then they all can list the product on Alibaba and then sell it to all of us. But what Pinduoduo do is they straight away connect the seller, okay, they straight away connect the buyer, which is all of us, to the wholesaler. So they go all the way to the root, to the source of the product. So why do you think they are trying to do this? Okay, when they do this, number one, they are able to reduce the cost even more. Okay, so again, that's why if you were to compare Pinduoduo with Alibaba or any other e-commerce website, their prices, you cannot compare one. It's definitely cheaper. So that's something that I like. Number two, agriculture is something that they are focusing a lot. That means they are connecting all the farmers in China and straight away, okay, providing all the, your vegetables, your fruit, your fish and everything to the consumer. Why do I like this? Is because when you go to website like, for example, Shopee and all that, will you every day go and buy things? The answer is no. When you need it, you go and buy it. But if you look at agriculture, like your vegetable, your fruits, your fish, your meat, will you buy them every single week? The answer is yes. So can you see that this is something that is more recurring, okay, and more sustainable in the long run? And they connect directly to the wholesaler, which is the farmer, okay, and the source of the farm itself. So what they do, right, is that they really believe in helping, and really transforming, okay, the farmer in China and helping them to connect to all the consumer out there. So this is something that I personally love a lot about the business itself. So let's move on to even more. I think this is something that I've mentioned a lot. Okay. Okay, let me just move on even further. If you look at this thing called Temu, okay, so Pinduoduo is the China version. So what happened is that, right, they also expanded overseas. Okay, and the overseas version is called Temu. So you can see that this is actually launched in the US as well as the UK. So if you look at some of the data over here, okay, you can see that Temu is actually the most downloaded app in the US for the last few months of 2022 and remained there for almost every day in 2023. So, wow, they go into the US and they literally become one of the most popular one. Now, why is that so? Because you have to understand, for example, in the US, if I want to buy a socks in the past, maybe a socks will cost me $4 to $5. But right now, if you go to Temu, the socks probably cost 20 cents. So to them, it's like, this is crazy. They have never seen item that is so cheap before. Okay, because why? They are not just connecting you to China supplier. They are connecting you to the source. And that is why the price is really, really like unbelievable. So let's move on even further. Okay, if you look at their GMV, which is their total sales, right? Okay, when they first started, it was only 3 million. Okay, by January, which is only a few months later, it went up to 192 million. Okay, can you all see the growth, right? And of course, they already mentioned that by the end of the year itself, which is 2023, they are estimated that Temu will be doing 1 billion monthly, which is 1 year how much? Which is, that means they are expecting a yearly of 12 billion. Okay, gross merchandise volume. This is a crazy amount. 12 billion a year of TMV. Now, of course, let's put this into some comparison. If you look at this company called C Limited, okay, let's look at C first, the Southeast Asia market. Okay, we can see that some of the bigger players are Shopee, your Lazada, your Tokopedia. So Shopee is doing about 40 over billion. So even if I take this Temu, right, growing at 12 billion a year, is it really a lot? To me, I think there are still a lot of room to grow, because why? Shopee is doing 40 over billion. And I've already mentioned that the business model is very different. Why is it that even if I were to compare Pinduoduo or Temu with Shopee, Temu will win? Because the price is way lower as compared to Shopee. Okay, just remember Shopee can be any one of us. I go and buy something from Taobao and then I put it on Shopee. I also need to earn money. But now they don't even let me earn money. They straight away go to the supplier, right? So that is, of course, something that is changing the whole game itself. So if you look at number, okay, very quickly, look at the revenue. It is growing like crazy. If you look at the profit margin, this is a relatively new company, okay? And within a short period of time, they have already turned profitable. That's why you can see that their net margin is positive. And not just like 5%, 10%, 20 over percent. If you look at their EPS, okay, they turned profitable back in 2021 and 2022. You can see that the earnings went up quite significantly. And of course, when everything is positive, the ROE is also very, very healthy as well. So really, really amazing in terms of all the numbers. You all can use the eFriend Ask. Then you all can see how powerful this number is. You look at the free cash flow, cash equivalent, look at the long-term debt. Okay, yeah, the debt is extremely low. So they are not really like C Limited, taking on a lot of debt to grow the business. Literally for them, they are already a cash cow. They are making tons of money. Right, so that is something that I really, really like. And of course, their book value has been increasing on a year-to-year basis. Let's look at the valuation. Of course, very exciting is the P ratio is at 20. Then of course, I mean, this might not be the most updated one, but y'all can go and take a look. I believe it's still relatively low. Right. So for me, right, okay, I really love the whole business model. I love the growth of this company. And I think at the current valuation, it is pretty, I think it's a fair value. Okay, I think it is at fair value. Now, let's share with all of you, okay, game plan. Okay, do I have a game plan? Okay. Wow, this one don't share with all of you first. Okay. Wow. Before we share the game plan, y'all must help us to like and share.
Yes, help us to like and share. And in the meantime, okay, we are because we are going to create a poll inside our BOS Telegram. So if you have not joined our BOS Telegram channel, the link is rolling right at the bottom. Can you see that? BOS Telegram t.me/bossy alert, because right after this we are going to do some polls and then at the same time share more information over there. So make sure to join us as well. And we do have a 2-day. You can see that, for example, how Bowen invests, right? He really looked very deep. He doesn't just invest based on like news or like sentiments and all this, right? He really analyzes it, right? But there are certain system and structure for you to follow so that you can start analyzing so systematically, right? So in our 2-day BOS MBA, right, which is happening in September, mid-September, we're going to teach you step by step how you can do that. And these 2 days completely free. So you have not joined us, make sure you also join our BOS 2-day MBA. And I think people are also very excited right now. As Gabriel even said, I like and share already. Please share with us your game plan.
Okay, cool. Right. So of course, yeah, for those of you who have helped us to like and share, really, really appreciate it. I think again, this is not just for yourself. I think for all of your friends around you, right, this will be very, very useful for all of them, because I've seen so many people, they have lost money in the stock market. And I think this is, something that they wish that they actually know all this much earlier as well. So let's look at the game plan. Okay, so my game plan is, of course, to buy the dip. Okay, yeah, so I'm a bit different from the Goldman Sachs veteran. So, of course, I always believe, when the price is right, okay, accumulate even more. I think I've been talking about this for easily the last 6 months to 1 year, okay, telling people to buy and buy and buy and buy and buy. For the people who have been buying, then of course, good lah. I mean, right now you can see that they are all making money, right? For the people that have not bought yet, I just want to share that I think the opportunity is still here. Okay, of course, like I mentioned, I think right now we are probably at the start or maybe somewhere, maybe 20-30% of the huge bull run. But I mean, it's not like a 6-month bull run, okay? It's going to be a relatively long bull run. So again, that opportunity will still be here, especially when the interest rate starts to drop, okay? There could be even more run up for the business itself, for the stock market itself. But having said that, market don't just go up in one direction. Don't expect that today you buy, then every day you see green in color. There will be fluctuation. That is also why we always say that when you invest, right, invest as a community, so that sometimes when you're afraid, when you're worried, right, okay, you have people, who are more seasoned, more experienced to tell you, hey, don't worry. When it drop, don't worry, buy more. Okay, yeah. So that's exactly what I'm doing, really, to look at the good opportunity, okay, and also the good timing, and then to accumulate even more as well, right?
I'm also very curious how many of you guys have been doing that as well. We have been accumulating shares for the past 1 year. If you have been doing that, can you type A in the chat? And in fact, this is what we have been advocating to our BOS community members as well. Every single month, just keep on buying good company at a good price. When the price fall, come to them instead of they chasing the price, right? So I think that is super important. So obvious rebound from support.
Right. So yes, this one is just to further remind everybody. Remember earlier on, I mentioned that the price is now coming down. So when the price is coming down, usually I don't chase after it. Okay, I wait for it to reach the support area that I've actually drawn earlier on. And only when it starts to bounce up, then I go in. It's just like roller coaster. When the roller coaster is going down, you do not know when is it the bottom. You only know when is the bottom only when it starts to go up. And then you look back, actually that was the bottom over there. So can you see that it is actually more obvious? So again, when it comes to investing, we always look for obvious sign. And I always believe the more research you do, the more obvious it is whether this is a good company or this is a bad company. Right. So again, coming back to just now, the last company that I mentioned, PDD. Okay, when we do our research, right, we went so deep that in fact I was also looking at where the current CEO, okay, is actually at. What is he doing right now? Okay, how do I know? Okay, just Google. Okay, but anyway, just to share with all of you, this is a bit additional information, right? Is that the previous CEO of Pinduoduo, okay, he is actually very, very young. In fact, right now, I think he's one of the top 10 billionaire in the world. I think his net worth is way more than any other China CEO, right? Because of the thing that he has actually built up. But what is so amazing about him is, I'm sure you all know that Warren Buffett, in order for you to actually meet him for lunch, you need to pay millions of dollars. So previously, right, during one of the lunch session that actually happened, okay, there was actually I remember, is it a China investor or the US investor? Okay, but what happened is that China investor was actually the CEO mentor. So when the mentor went to meet Warren Buffett after paying millions of dollars, he actually brought the CEO of Pinduoduo together with him. Right. So if you ask me, the current, the ex-CEO of Pinduoduo, right? He also learned a lot from Warren Buffett. So his philosophy is also, believe in the long term and really to build something fundamental so strong, okay, that it will actually grow over the long period of time as well. So I really love something, that this thing about him is that he's very long-sighted. So I will mention, where is he right now? In fact, he actually not say drop out, okay? He left his position as the CEO, okay? And right now he's actually getting his PhD in what? In agriculture. Why do you think he's doing it? He's actually building his knowledge even more so that he can actually build the technology side for the agriculture portion. So he's somebody that is very, very down to earth. He wants to actually help China to actually transform the whole agriculture into not just the traditional way, but really the high-tech way, okay, of growing. And when this happens, who is going to benefit? Not only the farmer is going to benefit, the consumer is also going to benefit, okay, by getting a better pricing, and also with all the transportation that's going to be very, very smooth. Everybody will get very, very fresh vegetable as well. So coming back to the risk that you guys mentioned about China government, Okay, again, this is China company. So no doubt there will be risk when it comes to the China government coming in and trying to restrict this and that. But one thing you also realize, the China government, what are they doing? If you make a lot of money doing funny thing, I will come in and make trouble for you. But if you look at the thing that they are doing, helping the agriculture portion of China to grow, and they are really contributing to the success of China as a whole, do you think the government will come in and find trouble for you? Or do you think the government is actually more supportive of this business itself? For me, I feel that as a government, if I see the effort that you are doing over there to help the rest of the rural part of the China, all the farmers out there to have a better standard of living, so that the whole economy can grow, I don't see any reason why I want to actually go and fine you or even give you trouble. Okay, so for me, I think when it comes to risk, we also have to understand that the government is not here to find trouble. If you are doing a good thing, I also want you to do well. Okay, because you are in a way also representing my country. All right. So I think when it comes to understanding this, we try to go and look at it from different perspective as well. So again, is there risk in the China regulation and things? The answer is yes. And so that's why even for myself, when I invest in China stock, I kept to a maximum of 10 to 15%. The rest, I still believe in investing into US company. So that is in a way how I manage my risk in terms of the allocation to the China company. Right. Yeah, so that pretty much cover the things that I have, for all of you. I hope you guys are learning a lot from today's session as well.
Yeah, let's ask the audience, right? Did you guys learn a lot from this? If you did, can you type L in the chat? L stands for learner. And in the meantime, okay, for those who have already joined our BOS Telegram, you can go and do your voting right now. We are very curious, right? Since you learned a lot from this, so what is your insight, right? What kind of a consideration as an investor that you have developed from this market update? So the first question that we ask is, after this market update, are you bullish or are you bearish? Right, put it inside the vote. And the second one, do you consider Pinduoduo, which is the company that Bowen just introduced, right, just shared as well, as an investable business? Yes or no? I'm very, very curious to know all of your thoughts as well. In the meantime, all right, you can see that the votes are coming in. Wow, quite extreme right now. So a lot of interesting thing happening in the Telegram. So make sure you do join us. Link over here if you have not. In the meantime, I can see that all our audience here, they really love your sharing. They learn a lot. Thank you so much, everybody. And by the way, next week, we are also going to invite another very special guest, because every single week we want to make sure we continue to learn, continue to level up and learn from other people as well. For example, today we get to learn from Bowen, then next week we get to learn from other investors, right? So this investor, he's quite interesting. And the next week's topic, right, we are going to teach you how to buy $1 million. When you can achieve $1 million by 30 years old, which this investor achieved that, right? 1 million by 30. Is it considered luck or skill? How many of you would love to increase luck in your own life, right? Doesn't have to be just investing, right? It can be different aspects of your life, right? Increase your income, and all this. If you want to increase luck, can you type L in the chat? L stands for luck. All right. And that's why next week we are going to invite this very special investor. I shall not reveal who he is, right? Next week you shall see. And increase everything, right? So he's going to share with you how he managed to do that and how you can also start implementing to increase your luck and as well as your portfolio return in the long run as well. Temu is unavailable. Oh, actually, I'm also quite curious. Like just now, there was one audience who shared with us that he uses every day. So does it mean that this audience, he's either based in China, he can use PDD, Pinduoduo? Because Bowen, if I'm not wrong, Pinduoduo is still only available in China, right? If it's outside of China, it will be Temu already.
Yep, that's right.
So can we try out Temu in Singapore?
I think it's not here yet. If it's here, it will disrupt the whole.
I wish it can be here. So we can really have a feel and use it as a user. Then you can really have a deeper understanding of the company that you are interested in as well. Buying more pineapples. But I know Pinduoduo is a sensation in China. right? Like it served the gap that it's not being filled by be it JD or be it Alibaba. So when they're able to fill the gap and they are able to help more people, especially those like 三线城市, those like cities that are not cities, are rural areas, and that's how they really bring up the whole economy, which I think the government would definitely want to support them in this way. Yeah. All right. So it's super popular, like Shein. But Pinduoduo is profitable. If you go and check its financial statement, it's already profitable. Yeah. So go and do more research. Don't just buy based on what we are sharing. Make sure you do your own homework. If you don't know how to do research and all this, then make sure join our 2-day BOS happening in mid-September. All right. We'll teach you how to do proper research like that. All right. So with that, all right, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next week to increase your luck. All right. So see you guys. Have a great week ahead. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Bowen, as well. Thanks so much for your insights. Thank you, everybody.